Hey everybody, this is Giancarlo Aulino reporting for Vibe 105 with a Sports Vibe Talk segment where we're going to be talking about all things MMA today. To help us out, he is a MMA legend here in Canada and paved the way for so many Canadian mixed martial artists. Gary Big Daddy Goodridge. How you doing, Gary?
I'm doing excellent, thank you. Excellent.
That's good. Gary, the big news that came out, HAO Collectibles is releasing two editions of a Gary Big Daddy Goodridge action figure, the regular edition coming out, and then the limited signature edition signed by you, only 100 available. So how excited were you when they approached you about making your own action figure?
This was like done maybe 7, 8 years ago. Um, and I signed in for it. I thought it was something gone and forgotten about, but apparently not. So they got a hold of me a little while ago, and they sent me the stuff, and apparently it was gone. I figured, I haven't heard from these people for years. Now COVID is gone, and they called me, so I was quite shocked.
Yeah, that's awesome too. Like after your career to even now, action figures coming out. So how cool is that to know that there's going to be another generation now? They're going to see the action figure, maybe do some research on your career and find out all the great fights you've been in.
Well, yeah, they're gonna find out all that. It's fun. I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it.
That's good. And you got your start in UFC fairly early on into the early days of the sport. So how different was the sport back when it started?
Um, Money. Different rules, and not very much change rules, but money definitely is a huge thing. We fought for peanuts back then, and they're fighting for millions now.
Yeah. And the UFC, like those tournaments back in the day that you competed in, how did you hear about the UFC? Like, was it something that went around the gym, or like someone approach you about it?
Yeah, a couple friends of mine approached me about it at work, and said, man, these guys are running around breaking legs and breaking arms and so on and so forth. So okay, well let's all get together and watch it. So we all got together at a friend of mine's place. About six of us sitting down there watching it, and I'm thinking, whoa, hang on, no, this doesn't look like anything I want to do. Then they're, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? And no, no. Well, I was the biggest guy in the crowd, and there was no weight class. So I decided no, I wasn't going to do it. Even before I walked there, what the hell are you asking me to do it for? And then by the end of everything, I had they were on the phone calling to find out where can I sign up. So they got a hold of a guy named Mark Davies, and then everything balls started rolling from there. Then they had to talk me into it.
And then, yeah, the UFC though, like that tournament format is very interesting. So when you were going into it for the first time, did you know ahead of time who your opponent was going to be, or was it something that they told you the day of?
No, you knew before, probably about a week before, who you were gonna face, and that was it. After that, you were in the brackets.
And so the bracket, then they made that. Was it tough to, I guess, train for it, knowing that you could potentially fight three times in one night?
Not at all. Not at all. There was hell. I didn't do nothing. I just came off the couch and went in there and fought.
And you did a great job. Like one of the KOs just to this very day is being talked about, that Paul Herrera one. And for all these
Yeah.
listeners right now, like check that out on YouTube. One of the biggest highlight reel knockouts you'll see in UFC and MMA history. Going into that, like what was your, I guess, your scouting report on Herrera? Did you know that that was one of his weaknesses, going for the takedown like that?
Yeah, I saw him over and over again doing the same. Well, I didn't see him. My the guys that I was with saw him over and over again doing the exact same thing. So they said, "Oh, this is what he's gonna do to you. This is what he's gonna do to you." So we worked out something that'll go easy with it, that'll lead him up into trouble. And we were training it 12 hours before that he did it, so it worked out perfect.
Yeah, and it worked in your favor. Unfortunately for him, but for you, it was great. And then after your MMA journey, also you went to Japan and fought. So what was the difference, I guess, in the audience in the U.S. compared to Japan?
In Japan, you can hear a mouse fart at 50 yards in the audience. In U.S. or Canada, you can't hear nothing. You can't even hear the fight. So that was a big difference right away. Like I said, everything is going on. It's like watching the UFC nowadays. You can hear anybody pass gas. But when it's really noisy here in the U.S., can't hear nothing.
And so I guess now the fighters competing today with this whole new norm of COVID, having no fans in attendance, do you think that it's an experience that it's kind of like the same when people are in there, you can have like 10,000 people screaming. Do you think that helps the fighters knowing that, I guess, there's not going to be as much anxiety going into it?
Yeah. If you can hear the crowd, you're not into it. You got to zone yourself out. If you can hear the crowd say anything or do anything, you're not into it. You have to be into a zone in your head that you hear nothing but your corner and his corner. You want to hear what the instruction he's getting, and you want to know the instruction you're getting. So you don't hear anything. I never heard absolutely anything but my corner, and that's how your brain's got to be.
Did it take a long time to like get that skill, or was it like after years of training, being more comfortable, being more well-rounded, that you gained that?
Yeah, yes, after that you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and especially that, like you did both MMA and kickboxing in a ring, but then in the UFC, you're in the cage. Did that is that like a better thing that maybe combat sports should do? Do it in the cage like that, no one falls out, or do you prefer the ring atmosphere?
You know what? It really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the paycheck. That's the only thing that matters. You can do it on a porch. You can do it on a deck. It doesn't matter. It's just if you pay someone enough, they'll do it.
Yeah, sounds good there. Couldn't have said it any better. You nailed it
Uh,
there. For those just joining us here on Vibe 105, we're speaking with Gary Big Daddy Goodridge here with a Sports Vibe Talk segment. Gary, also in Pride, one of your big fights was Fedor Emelianenko. Everybody knows what kind of a legend he is in MMA, but at the time, what did you know about Fedor? Like, and how good was he? Because many fighters and fans here, they see him at 40. So how good was he in his prime?
back then, he was unstoppable. You couldn't stand with him. You couldn't go on the ground with him. He was unstoppable back then. And yeah, I guess age got to him like everybody else. Fedor was tough. He was a tough kid.
And do you think he gets a recognition, I guess, that other people get? Like, do you think he deserves more praise or more respect from, I guess, the UFC because he never competed there?
Yeah, he deserves more respect around the world actually because, like I said, he was a tough SOB and nobody could beat him at the time. Nowadays, there's people that are doing more different things. The sport has changed, and it's more people are getting into it because of the money, and so things change. So of course, you'll get better people, and the people that are the best today will not be the best in 10 years. They'll be looked at as pioneers as well too. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And speaking of some of the pioneers of the sport, like Jon Jones right now, everyone's talking about him as being potentially the greatest fighter of all time. He's going to be moving up to heavyweight. What have you seen in Jon Jones when he was at light heavyweight that maybe his skills will be able to translate to heavyweight?
I love Jon Jones. His skills are amazing. I do believe he needs to be heavyweight. You need to be able to hit. You need to be able to strike legs and hands. I think he's lacking on. He doesn't know how to kick, nor he doesn't punch that hard. This is what I believe. No, don't get me wrong. I love Jon Jones, but he needs to get on the bag some more, at least to learn how to effectively strike and hurt somebody. He doesn't have that yet, as far as I can see.
And in terms of the UFC, like when you were in the UFC competing in the tournament, they didn't really have that one name that like a Conor McGregor now, who everybody like the pay-per-view buys, and it's turning to more like an entertainment product. So do you think Conor McGregor has been positive for the sport, or do you think it makes people look at it a different way?
People do look at it a different way, whether it be positive or negative, it doesn't matter. The thing is that Conor's a worker. He works hard. And anybody that can work the crowd and work your country and anything like that, it's a positive. The thing about it is that how you either have to make people like you or hate you, but it doesn't matter. They still want to see you. And he had a lot of people liking him, loving him, and a lot of people hating him. So everybody wanted to see him win or get his ass kicked. So that's what you want, the best of both worlds.
And is there a comparable to when you fought? Like, was there a fighter that kind of had that same aura to him?
No, there was not a single fighter that would had it. Way back in the day was always Gracie, but after Hoist, there's nobody else that came out for many years.
Yeah. Once again, for those just joining us here on Vibe 105, we're speaking with Gary Big Daddy Goodridge here with the Sports Vibe Talks segment. And Gary, like you just mentioned there about Hoist Gracie, and during that time, we saw maybe MMA fighters transition into more mainstream things. Like Ken Shamrock was the big one who went to the WWE, did pro wrestling. Dan Severn followed. So what did you think of those guys when they went to pro wrestling? Do you think that kind of went against what the UFC of being a legitimate thing stood for?
Not at all. I don't lay down hard on any man that wants to make money. The UFC was career. The UFC fighting was career. The career was finished for them. So the thing is that when you're finished, what do you do? So they went on to wrestling. All the more best in them, because you need to have something. We all need to make money. I'm happy for them. I wish they were still doing it today. It's about earning money and doing what you do. Whether you be a football player, whether you be a teacher, it's doing what you know and doing what you do and doing what you love and moving from there.
And one of the things also I want to talk about is we have a mutual connection, Aaron Wise. I want to give a shout out to him there. You got involved with him with Awees Comics. You're the main character in his comic series, dealing with anti-bullying and just all that stuff in a positive light. Just how rewarding is it for you to be like, you had this MMA career, kickboxing career, but now you're also being known as a superhero for a lot of these kids growing up dealing with bullying?
Yeah, you know what? I really enjoy working with kids and helping people get to wherever they want to go faster or make it more fun. I enjoy working with kids. I really, really enjoyed that. Aaron Wise hooked me up on it. I call him Aaron West. I'm happy that he hooked me up with it because I like giving. I like giving to kids, to adults. It doesn't matter. I like giving and helping. That's all I have now. It's just what it is. I love it. I love it.
That's great. And final question here for you. Like, what advice would you give to some of the young MMA fighters right now, kickboxers right now that are maybe learning different tools, learning different skills as they progress and get better?
You just said it right there almost. The best thing to do is have as many tools as you can in your toolbox. You don't want to be restricted by having 2 or 3 tools. You want to be able to have a number of tools, but of course you have your go-to tools. You have 2 or 3, just like Ronda Rousey. You have 2 or 3 ones that you can do it perfectly, and you got to know the rest. So the more tools you have in your toolbox, the better you are.
Yeah, that's great advice. And Gary, before we wrap up here, are you on social media or anything that fans can get in touch with you and ask you some questions, feedback on some stuff? Like, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter as Gary H. Goodridge. At Gary H. Goodridge. I'm on Facebook too, but I really don't do Facebook. My sister really does it. Um, that's it, just Twitter.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Gary, I'd like to thank you for taking time and coming here on Vibe 105 to speak about this. It was great to have you on. We were honored to have you here, and we wish you all the best.
No problem. The pleasure was all yours.
That was true right there. The pleasure was all mine and all the listeners here. That was Gary Big Daddy Goodridge. This is Giancarlo Aulino signing off. Stick around because we got more programming right here on Vibe 105.
And now back to your Vibe 105.